Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. I've done previous shows with Warriors Journey Home, which is a very unique organization that helps veterans coming back into our society. We've also done a show on Habitat for Humanity, and we celebrated the dedication on the 10th of April, and that was a very nice festivity. And also we had the commissioner of Medina County Health District in recently, and that election is the 3rd day of May. And unfortunately, they didn't pass their levy in November by 7 votes. So hopefully you'll get out and cast your vote on May 3rd or before in person. It's going on right now in Medina, the Board of Elections, and you can go ahead and cast your vote, certainly absentee or in person on the 3rd. Dora Kaufman is with us today from First Awards. First Place Awards, and we got to get that correct. And Dora, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. How long have you been at it? How long have you engraved awards?
We've been in business for 35 years. We bought the business in 1987 from Barb and Rick Ott, and they brought everything out to our house and set it all up for us. Taught me how to engrave and taught me how to screen print, and my husband Tom also, and we've been working at it since then.
So really you did have, I guess you could really say that Barb was your mentor. She
Yes.
really helped you, and you probably wanted to get all kind of questions out and how to work on various materials. You really don't work on one medium. I mean, it's a lot of different things people bring in, isn't it?
That's right. As far as what I did at the beginning, it was with a manual engraver. So I was only engraving on metal, and it was very slow. And then we went to a computerized engraver, which was still a scratcher. And now in 2014, we got the laser. So that's improved it a lot and made it a lot easier.
Sure, I'm sure. What triggered you to get involved in this business in the first place?
Well, Tom had some hats ordered from First Place Awards. We kept the name, and he just happened to, well, I was laid off from the job that I had before, and he just asked if they wanted to sell that business. He thought it was something that I could do. So we just jumped in with both feet and went ahead and bought it.
Sure, sure.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, I'm sure as time goes on, like any new job, you kind of learn, and you just advance as time goes on, and certainly it's a challenge, but you never know who's going to come through your door, right? That's probably pretty interesting as well.
Yes, we had the business in our home for a few years, and it was a little inconvenient that way. We put all the screen printing in the basement, and it kind of stunk up the house, but we finally got to move out to the garage into a area where we had kept a custom car, and then when Tom sold the car, we put the shop in there, and I filled it up.
What about the individuals coming in, or groups or organization? How does that, do you have maybe 50-50, or are there a lot more people coming in individually to have things engraved?
Well, it's probably half and half. Schools and organizations we do for car shows, and scouts, and a lot for the schools. And then people just come in with one item they want a plate to attach to it, or a couple of trophies they want to buy for their grandkids. Or
Oh, so you also sell, you could also sell, buy trophies at your establishment as well as just having engraving done.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Tom builds the trophies.
Okay.
And we do a lot. We just finished a job that had 140 trophies.
Wow.
So
And who was that for?
that was for Reimer Road basketball.
Okay, great, great.
And I do the engraving, and Tom builds the trophies, and then we attach the engraving to the trophy.
Right. What about the reaction when people do get their award or memorabilia? I'm sure they're pretty pleased to see it and really happy to get it.
Yes, most of the time, everybody's happy. And I try to get the jobs out quickly, which people appreciate too.
Yeah, no question about it. It's a situation where people, they can't wait to get it to you and hopefully get it back. What are some of the things you've brought here? What do we have here? We have is that a yearly plaque?
That's called a perpetual plaque. I made that for the Honor Guard in Wadsworth. They just brought it in yesterday to have a couple plates engraved on it, so I just brought it down to show.
All right. And I'm sure then during the year it's put up at the
American Legion.
Okay, great.
And
I'm sure the members really appreciate that and look forward to seeing that every year.
When I make a perpetual plaque, I just charge for the plaque, and then each plate is done at no cost so that they don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost for one plate. And some people bring in the plate, some people bring in the whole plaque, but it works out real well.
What about some of the things here on the table? Tell me about the football. Is that the Browns finally winning a Oh no, I better not get into that.
That's a fantasy football group that brought it in to have it engraved and haven't picked it up yet, so I just brought it in.
Okay, all right, and, I'm in a fantasy football league, but I've not finished at the top, so I'll have to talk to the relatives, see about starting a tradition with that as well. And you said that there were different mediums. It looks like this right here with the glass is not probably very easy to work with, is it?
No, it's iffy because it costs me a lot of money in the first place.
Okay.
So if I make a mistake, it's a costly mistake. That one is a mistake, but I can't figure out what I did wrong. It just didn't engrave well.
Yeah, my daughter works with stained glass, and she says it's not very easy to go ahead and develop and perform, and just one little glitch along the way, as you say, it could be costly.
Yes, and the rest of them are just samples of trophies that are available. And
well, I have to make a confession, Dora. You've done some work for me, and the first baseball you did for me was Larry Doby, and he, of course, was the first African American to play in the American League. He debuted on July 5th, 1947, and that was 11 weeks after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in the National League for the Brooklyn Dodgers, but we don't hear very much about Larry Doby. It's all Jackie Robinson, and April 15, all players in both leagues wear number 42 that Jackie Robinson wore as a Brooklyn Dodger, and that is really good. I really enjoy that, but I'm proposing we should do, at least for the American League, number 14 and honor Larry Doby for his what he went through in 1947. So just 11 weeks after Jackie Robinson debuted. And of course the opening pitch of the Guardian season, Tom Hanks was invited in, and he threw to Larry Doby Jr. And that initiated the new era of the Guardians in Cleveland, and it was I thought it was very apropos that Larry Doby Jr. caught that pitch from Tom Hanks and started our season. Another player that I think Joanna had a picture of as well, you did for me, was Bob Feller. And he certainly was a Cleveland Indian that most people recognize and really appreciate his efforts. He started, believe it or not, as a 17-year-old from Des Moines, Iowa, or Van Meter, Iowa. And so he was really a young whippersnapper when he started and really pitched very well. In fact, Pearl Harbor happened on December 7, 1941, and he volunteered for the Navy and went ahead and lost 4 seasons during his prime years as a pitcher, and he won 266 games. Add 4 years up at maybe 20 or even 25, and he would be well over 350 wins. So I'm not sure how many more players would do that today, but he really sacrificed a great deal for his career, and really it's a situation where we really appreciate what Bob Feller did. How do you make sure you're accurate? I imagine you can't be doing 2 things at once. If you're engraving, and I've put down a couple little mementos that, Larry Doby was in so many all-star games and won his debut. You can't be doing 2 things at once, can you?
No, you better be concentrating when I'm laying it out. I check it when I do that, and then after it's done, I check it again. But we hope we don't get any mistakes that leave the shop. I think you did get one.
Yeah, I did get
and
one.
It was only one number.
It was a rarity, and again, it was only one number. You're right.
Yeah.
So it is a situation where it is tedious work, I would imagine, and you have to be very accurate. And I'm sure the laser helps a great deal, I would imagine, to stay straight and make sure that you're accurate. And to me, the sizing would be a big issue to get what the people want on the plaque or whatever you're engraving.
Well, the laser does a lot of that. It makes it very easy to lay something out because you can change the size of the lettering until it fits the area you need to engrave in.
Has COVID-19 caused you any concerns? A lot of people, couldn't get out and travel so much, and I'm not sure if collectors, relish the time to make some collections or awards. But how did COVID-19 affect your business?
Well, we didn't have much, and I had back surgery in that summer, so it gave me a lot of time to recover, and things picked up in 21, and they're just about back to normal now. People come in sometimes with masks on still, and I just ask them, do you want me to put a mask on too? I have one hanging right there. But they're fewer and fewer that are masked when they come in.
Do you work out of your office near your home?
It's in a room next to built onto the garage. And I'm so glad to be in there and out of the house. And it's handy. I can run from the house to the garage in 30 seconds.
And you're on Hartman Road?
On Hartman Road, 7800.
Okay, all right.
Hartman.
Do you have a phone number where people could reach you if they're contemplating an award or a plaque?
336.
Okay.
It's 330-336-0365.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget my phone number.
What project do you look forward to doing every year? Now, you talked about the rotating award. Are there some that you just can't wait and you say, oh boy, it's April here. Probably there's something going to come right around the corner I can't wait to do?
Oh, well, we have a big order from the Rogues Hollow car show.
Okay.
And I have to have things in stock for that show. And it's usually, we make 36-inch trophies for them. So they're big trophies. And Tom fills up a great big table out in the garage after having them all built. And I don't know whether I look forward to anything, but we plan ahead a little bit too for jobs like that.
And are the people pretty good at letting you know that, you know, it's Rogues Hollow time coming
Yes.
up, and, you know, get ready because we're going to be requesting all those awards? And
Yes.
who do they give those awards to? Is it various categories of cars that have won awards?
Well, they all bring in their custom cars, and somebody walks up and down and judges them and picks them out for the trophies. I don't know how they do it, but they have sponsors who pay them money so that they can buy the trophies, and I think the car owners like the big trophies.
Right. Does your specific business have any times that could they call you in the early evening and then talk about what they have in mind?
Yes, they can call anytime. Well, don't call after 10 o'clock.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, anytime during the day. Since we're working from my home, we can take a phone call anytime.
Okay. What about the situation where how long might it take for, let's say, that job at Rogues Hollow with numerous trophies? Mm-hmm. Might that take a couple days to coordinate everything?
Well, it will take us maybe a week and a half to put all those trophies together and get them done. And we like to, if we're going to get a job like that, I'd like to know well ahead of time so that we can plan. Sometimes I have to work nights.
Yeah, right. Dora, I need to go back for a minute. There was a picture that I also brought in regards to Larry Doby. There was a picture that a friend of mine gave me from Niles, Ohio, and it had the Brooklyn Dodgers, 3 of the Brooklyn Dodgers and 2 of the Cleveland Indians that were prominent in the early days of the American and National League. On the far left, that's Jackie Robinson. Larry Doby is next. Then we have the pitcher for the Dodgers, Don Newcomb, Luke Easter, and Roy Campanella. And it seemed like Brooklyn and Cleveland were the teams that really promoted. And Branch Rickey and Bill Veeck were the owners. And hopefully that was a little history lesson for some of our viewers, because Cleveland was renowned for, of course, later. I also I ventured to the National Negro Sports Hall of Fame, and that is in St. Louis, Missouri. And of course, Jackie Robinson played for a couple years for the Kansas City Monarchs, and one Satchel Paige pitched there amongst many other barnstorming and Negro League teams for years and years. And no one seemed to know the age of old Satchel Paige. He came up in 1948 when the Indians were vying for the pennant and won 6 games. And he certainly was quite the character, and went ahead and pitched for the Indians and a couple other teams in the American League as well. So he was quite a pitcher indeed, and told lots of stories. He said, don't slow down, someone may be passing you. He had a lot of bromides and little stories that he had. He was quite the character. What about, what have you accomplished over the years? If you had to do it over again, would you still have gotten in this business?
I like it, yes. I'm glad I do like it, but yeah, I think I would have done it over again too. And everything I've learned pretty much is self-taught, especially on my laser. They brought in the laser machine and told me how to work it. Spent maybe an hour and a half there, and that's all the instruction I had to use that machine. So I had to learn how to do everything that I still can't do everything that it can do, but I'm learning all the time.
So imagine there's a lot of trial and error. You probably did some projects or came up with things on your own that you would try to perfect, and people want to have their awards in good shape, and they cherish them and post those, and it's something that that they really enjoy having very much.
Well, I like composing a plate for a plaque, because I can put it out in one font, and if I don't like that, I can change the font easily and just lay it out differently until I find something that pleases me. I hope it pleases the customer too.
Yeah, there is a lot of art in it. It's just not, you just don't go ahead and transfer the information you're receiving onto a plaque. It is, as you say, kind of taking a look at it, making sure that it's proportionally acceptable in your eyes, and hopefully the owner, and again, that it is, I'm sure, a learning experience, and you probably do things now so much faster because you have so many projects and done so many things in the past. It makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, it is much easier, getting much easier. Sometimes I make a plate, the customer wants a certain font, they want it this way or that way, and I'll make it that way, but then if I think it could be better, I make it the way I like it, and then I show it to them, and if they choose what they picked, fine, and a lot of times they choose what I made. So
I know I've had a couple baseballs engraved by you, and I think other people have told me that they had, one gentleman had footballs, helmets of the various NFL teams. Tell me about that collection. And he had numerous ones, maybe 30 or 40 maybe?
I have no idea how many in his collection, but he brought things to me all the time. That was Dave Lorincz, and he's died.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened to his collection, but he had helmets that had players sign. He'd go, and I don't know how he did it, but he went and had them sign his helmet, and then would put them on a stand, and I'd engrave a plate for it.
Maybe he went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I saw the other day that in Canton they were going to expand the Hall of Fame to include, I think, 10 recipients every year. So there's going to be in Cooperstown, New York. They try to limit it to 2 or 3 inductees every year. But football, it seems like they have a lot more, and of course a lot of Cleveland Browns are there, and people really enjoy that very much. So that was kind of a unique. And he had the autograph of the player with their team helmet. If they were from New Orleans Saints or whoever, that would be quite a unique collection. Dora, what do you see down the road? Are you going to continue at this? The working makes you feel young, and you've got to know a lot of people over the years, I would imagine. That probably is a part of it that you probably really enjoy and like very much.
Yes, I like sitting and yakking with everybody when they come.
and they probably tell you the stories about, like I do, about some of the. Ted Williams comes to mind. We talked. Although I don't have a ball, maybe you can grab me a ball for Ted Williams. But he was he took time out of his career and went into the Air Force, the Marine branch of the Air Force, and flew at the tail end of World War II. He didn't get into action then. He was kind of a young guy then, and then he kept, because there was a shortage of pilots, they kept him on the list of active flyers, and in the Korean War they called him back, and he wasn't real happy to serve again. He said, well, I've already served once, and they said, well, we need you. And so he did. He flew several missions in Korea. And I read a book in which that highlighted his training, which was very rigorous to get in. And one of the Marine pilots was someone that we probably know a little bit about here in Ohio. It was John Glenn. And John Glenn flew for the Marine wing of the Air Force, and he said, I would never hesitate going on a mission if Ted Williams was my wingman. He was very dependable, and he was hard-nosed, and it was kind of interesting that John Glenn and Ted Williams became friends in the Korean War. And just another little story. Probably I told you that before, Dora, but you have to go through that as well. So I want to thank you very much for sharing the history of your 35-year business. And if anyone is interested, I can attest that Dora does excellent work, and she's very, very precise in everything she does. Thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we will have interesting guests coming up.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.